Hey everybody, Eric with Solo Box. So if there's one thing that I really dread about my job, it's finishing these welds down. But I'll show you the difference. So I just finished this end and you can see how nice that is. It takes a lot of effort to do that. Here's what one looks like that hasn't been finished. So if you buy that crap out of China, this is what you're gonna get. They're just gonna powder coat right over the top of that and you get what you get. I put the additional effort in of making these nice and smooth and giving people quality, because it does make a difference. But man, it comes at an expense in terms of my time and effort. And so how I accomplish that is with a belt sander. I've been running this guy for about 5 years solid, and I will tell you, I have just put this thing through hell. Some things about this that I liked: feet per minute. This does about 1,300, and most of the 3x21 belt sanders are at usually about 900. So the belt moves pretty quick, so it takes stuff off pretty quickly. But what I've been thinking recently was that, you know, maybe I could go to a 4-inch wide by 24-inch belt and find something that's actually spinning even faster, which this does, and it would speed up what it takes for me to get this done, because man, I just dread doing it. I hate doing it. So there's some differences between these that I thought I'd talk about. One thing I like about the new one is that the pigtail comes out of the bottom of it. One thing I always hated about this, you can see where I actually cut it off, because it had a solid piece of plastic or rubber sticking straight up out of this. And also you can see that I've had some issues with, this is actually the last batch. I've had to work on the cord a few times, but considering that I have run the hell out of this for about 5 years, and it still runs, you know. This is a Hitachi, and actually I bought this at a pawn shop used, and it's been really good to me. This actually replaced an even smaller one. Before this, I was using a, what was it? It was a 3x18, and it was a really cheap one, and I ran the hell out of that one too, and it finally died, and so this was its replacement. And this was definitely a bump up. This did a better job, and it was quicker. It was heavier. That's one thing I don't like about this. According to the shipping scale, this is about 2 pounds heavier, and you definitely feel every bit of that 2 pounds. So it's one thing I don't like. I do like how the cord comes out down here. I sealed off this exhaust port. I know I'm supposed to have a lot of air coming through this to help keep the motor cool. That's another thing, is this gets hot to the point where it will burn you. This one's running a lot cooler. Not quite as cool when I closed off this port, but it does get a ton of cooling through right here too. Problem with this is if I take this off, or even leave it the way that it is, it just blows aluminum straight up into my face. And I don't like running it with the bag on it, because it just gets in my way. I have to run this at a lot of weird different angles and stuff to be able to do the boxes, and so it's just always in the way, and so I don't like running them on there. Here's something interesting. So these are Harbor Freight belts. This is the belt that it came with, which claims to be 80 grit. This is a Harbor Freight belt that claims to be 80 grit. And this is a Harbor Freight belt that claims to be 80 grit. As to why these are totally different is beyond me, because look at the packaging. These were both on the shelf in the same spot. They should be the same, but they're not. Now this one that came actually with the machine that claims to be 80 grit looks like it's more like 40, which is really kind of weird. So I wasn't sure if I would like these belts or not, but so far I've done part of the stack over there, you can see, and I'm getting about a set and a half of boxes out of each belt, which is about the same as with the old, with the belts that I usually get at Home Depot. But these cost about $2 less, so I'm pretty thrilled about that. I probably will be switching to getting my belts at Harbor Freight. As to why none of them look the same is beyond me. It's really kind of odd. So anyway, just thinking about maybe trying to figure out how I could lighten this up a little bit. I thought that all of this metal was solid, but it's not. It's actually It's actually, if you look down inside of there, you can see that it's not solid all the way through, but man, you feel every bit of that extra 2 pounds. And when you've got to run something like this for about 3 hours straight, yeah, you're gonna notice that 2 pounds. I don't like the handle nearly as much. This has a really nice T on it, and so I'm thinking about maybe using these screw holes to try to come up with something better to grab onto. I don't like this, but now that I've done some boxes with it, I'm starting to get used to the feel of this tool. Getting accustomed to the grip and the additional weight. This belt is just smoking fast. It's moving along at 1,600 feet per minute instead of the old 1,375 with this one. Plus the belt is an inch wider and it's 4 inches longer. So it's definitely taking stuff off a lot faster than the old one. And so that's actually what I was really after when I bought this. You know, and I didn't even want to buy the tool at Harbor Freight. I actually went to Home Depot first and I went to Lowe's first, and neither one of them had a 4-inch wide sander. I was prepared to spend like 150, 180 bucks on something. This was, I think I paid $80 for this yesterday. And so far, I'm pretty thrilled with the quality. It does have some plastic to it, but it's kind of sandwiched in between a whole bunch of metal. So I have a feeling this is actually going to be a really good tool. I would have spent more on a name brand, but the opportunity to do so just wasn't there. This was the best thing I actually found. This exact one they carry at Lowe's, and so I could have bought another one of these for, I believe, $150. But, you know, what would have been the benefit to that? Really what I was after was to make this job go quicker, which this does. So I'm stoked on that. And so anyway, I think I'm just going to get back to it. That's what's going on down here today. These will be going over to powder coating in a couple hours, and then I'm going to switch over and get into building a bunch of steel stuff. I've got people with full setups for bikes. I got to build frames, so I will be doing that the rest of the day. Anyway, talk to you guys later. Eric Solo Box.